feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me
Born into wealth, driven by passion, the unlikely journey of Son Suk Ku. Not everyone is born into privilege and still chooses to carve a completely different path. But Son Suk Ku did exactly that, and it's one of the things that makes his story so compelling. He wasn't someone who had to fight his way up from nothing. Instead, he was raised with opportunities most people can only dream of. Yet rather than settling into a life of luxury and predetermined success, he stepped away from it all to pursue a calling that was far more uncertain, the world of acting. In doing so, he didn't reject his background. He redefined what legacy could look like. From a young age, it was clear that Son Suk Ku's family wasn't just wealthy, but also intentional about shaping his future. His father wasn't merely a businessman. He was the owner of a steel company, a position that placed him among Korea's industrial elite. And yet, even with that stature, his concerns about his son weren't about grades or career paths, but about personality. Worried that young Suk Ku was too shy and introverted, his father made a bold decision to send him overseas while still in middle school. It wasn't just a move to give him an international education. It was an emotional intervention. His father believed that a man shouldn't be timid, and America, he thought, might just help toughen his son up. Son Suk Ku ended up attending the prestigious St. John's Prep School in Minnesota, a far cry from the life he knew in Korea. Surrounded by a new culture, new language, and completely unfamiliar faces, he was thrust out of his comfort zone. But rather than resisting it, he adapted. That experience didn't just broaden his worldview, it ignited something inside him. When it came time to pursue higher education, he didn't go the route of business or engineering as one might expect from a steel magnate's heir. Instead, he enrolled at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago and chose to study acting, taking a leap of faith that few from his background would ever dare to take. In a recent viral clip from an old interview, Son Suk Ku offered a rare, intimate look into the reason behind his time abroad. "My dad was worried because I was too shy," he confessed. "He believed that a man shouldn't be like that, so he sent me overseas so I could change." It's a surprisingly heartfelt confession, one that paints a picture of a father who, though stern and traditional, genuinely wanted the best for his son, even if it meant tough love. And ironically, it was that very decision to push him away from home that ultimately brought Son Suk Ku closer to himself. Despite his artistic education, the pull of family expectations didn't disappear overnight. For a time, Son Suk Ku held an executive position in his father's steel company. From the outside, it seemed like the natural next step for someone of his background. But hidden beneath the surface was a deeper story, one that began long before he ever stepped into a boardroom. It turns out that the company wasn't just his father's legacy. His grandfather had built the foundation, and from a young age, Suk Ku had been seen as the one to eventually carry the torch. "My grandfather was an entrepreneur in the steel and machinery business," Son Suk Ku revealed in the same interview. "He wanted me to take over the company." That kind of generational expectation can feel both like a crown and a chain. To be told from childhood that you are the future of something so big, so established, is a heavy responsibility. It's the sort of weight that can shape your entire identity, unless, of course, you decide to challenge it. And that's exactly what Son Suk Ku did. As he explored life beyond the office and rediscovered his passion for acting, he realized something crucial. Just because you're born into a certain story doesn't mean you're obligated to live it out word for word. Acting wasn't just a hobby for him, it was a calling. He eventually stepped away from the steel industry altogether, choosing instead to pour himself fully into the unpredictable, often brutal world of entertainment. It was a gamble, yes, but one that began to pay off. His breakout role came in the critically acclaimed drama My Liberation Notes, where his brooding yet vulnerable performance alongside Kim Ji-won drew praise from both fans and critics alike. He followed that success with a key role in D.P. 2, further solidifying his status as a serious actor with depth, not just a rich kid trying to play pretend. The range of emotions he brings to the screen suggests a man who's lived with expectations, conflict, and the weight of choosing a different path. And maybe that's why audiences find his performances so real. Leaving behind a CEO title isn't something done lightly, especially when the company in question was practically handed to you by your grandfather. But Son Suk Ku made it clear that authenticity mattered more to him than tradition, and rather than fight his parents over it, he was met with something surprising: support. "My parents let me do whatever I wanted," he said, a simple statement that speaks volumes. That kind of freedom is rare in families with long-standing business empires, and it likely gave him the courage to keep pushing forward in an industry where nothing is guaranteed. Now in his 40s, Son Suk Ku stands not just as a successful actor, but as a symbol of what it means to define success on your own terms. His story is more than just a tale of privilege. It's a study in self-discovery, of walking away from comfort to embrace passion. He reminds us that even when the road ahead is paved with gold, the heart might still crave a path made of fire and grit. And sometimes, the richest life isn't the one inherited, but the one you create for yourself.